I'm Olivia, a 52-year-old office worker. My husband, Marcus, has been bedridden for 7 years following a car accident. He's paralyzed from the waist down and can't move without a wheelchair. He was in his car for work, waiting at a red light when he was rear-ended by someone who, apparently, fell asleep while also on the job. When I received the call from Marcus's office, I rushed to the hospital. Marcus was conscious and spoke to me, but he said he couldn't feel his legs. At that time, I never imagined he would end up bedridden. When the doctor explained the situation to me, it was the first time I felt the severity of it. He mentioned there might be lasting damage to the lower half of Marcus's body. Marcus's life changed completely after being discharged about 2 months later. The bathroom was the most challenging part, as he couldn't walk freely. Even sitting on the commode we had in the room was a struggle. However, my easygoing husband, though distressed by his physical limitations, seemed to relish the fact that he didn't have to work anymore. All the expenses were covered by the insurance of the company of the person who hit him. He was also approved for workers' compensation, and disability benefits were paid out. We used the money to remodel Marcus's room. The funds were helpful for installing things like the commode and grab bars. Now that I'm getting disability benefits, I can take things easy. Our 20-year-old college-going son, Alex, seeing his dad talk so carelessly, responded, "Dad, did you intentionally get hit or something?" An understandably angry Marcus retorted, "Why would you say something like that? Do you think I wanted to be like this?" While bedridden, Marcus's upper body moves just fine, and he speaks up whenever he wants. Marcus's life changed drastically, but it also added a lot to my plate. While Marcus never really did household chores even before, bathing him became quite a task since he can't bathe by himself. While I'm at work, he watches TV or videos on his smartphone lying in bed. For lunch, he heats the packed meal I prepare for him. He goes to physical therapy once a week, and I accompany him to and from the sessions. Marcus hates the therapy and often acts like a child, making excuses not to go. "I'm not feeling well today, maybe I should skip the hospital." I'd reply, "If you're not feeling good, shouldn't you go to the hospital and get checked out? You can do therapy while you're there." With no counter, he reluctantly goes. Upon returning, he often complains about the therapist. There's no need for him to be so strict with me. I feel like he enjoys torturing me. Though the therapy did help, and Marcus began to feel some strength in his legs, he was convinced it was his body's way of feeling normal. After living like this for 7 years, it began to feel normal. The doctor says that with continued therapy and muscle building, he could eventually walk. But Marcus doesn't seem too happy about this progress. "I'm fine as I am. I don't think I'll get any better." I thought he said this because he didn't want to push himself in therapy. Then one day, my sister, Emma, shared something curious over the phone. Emma, who delivers lunches, mentioned seeing someone who looked just like Marcus at one of her delivery locations. This man, resembling my husband, was limping, but his face looked identical. I chuckled and said, "Maybe you saw a look-alike. There are plenty of older men who look like Marcus out there." But Emma was unconvinced and added, "Marcus has that unique buzzcut style, right? Not many have that." After his accident, Marcus had shaved his head, and now it had grown into a sort of buzzcut style. It seemed unlikely she'd mistake someone else for him, given that Emma often sees Marcus when delivering lunch on days I'm too busy. Growing slightly anxious, Emma offered, "I have a pet monitoring camera at home. How about I install it for you?" It appeared Emma was suggesting setting up a hidden camera for me. I didn't think it was necessary to go that far, but since Emma strongly recommended it, I decided to ask for her help. Actually, I had some suspicions about my husband. Despite Marcus being unable to go out on his own, I found his shoes left out by the front door. I usually put them away in the shoe cabinet when he comes home, so it was unusual for them to be out. Furthermore, my husband, who usually lounges around at home in sweatpants, told me he wanted some fashionable clothes. If I aim to recover enough to wear fashionable clothes and go out, it'll motivate me to work hard in therapy, he'd said. I agreed with Marcus and bought him the clothes, but sometimes I found them thrown on the floor as if he had tried them on. Marcus usually couldn't change clothes on his own, so I helped him. After hearing Emma's story, I started to think that maybe he was changing into these clothes and sneaking out. On the days Marcus went for therapy, I asked Emma to install a hidden camera. Emma had a spare key to our house since she sometimes brings lunch over for Marcus, so setting up the camera was easy. I could watch the footage in real time on my smartphone and even record it. While a part of me wanted to trust Marcus, I also needed to know the truth. Given the suspicious circumstances, I soon found out the truth. 2 days after Emma installed the camera, I casually checked my smartphone to see what Marcus was up to while I was at work. To my surprise, Marcus was standing up by himself and changing his clothes. Although he walked with a limp, he seemed somewhat elated as he tossed aside his sweats and changed into his new, fashionable outfit. After getting dressed, he checked himself out in the mirror, adjusted his buzz-cut hair, and left the room. Seeing Marcus like this shocked me, and I couldn't focus on my work that day. After all the effort and care I had provided daily since Marcus's accident, I couldn't bear the thought of him sneaking around behind my back. During my lunch break, I called Emma and told her what I saw. "Emma, you were right. Marcus has been sneaking out. He even hid from me the fact that he can now dress himself," I said, distraught. Emma comforted me, considering she had seen him at some woman's house. I was filled with anger and humiliation. Since Marcus's accident, I had spent almost all my time taking care of him, sacrificing my own needs. Sensing my emotions, Emma spoke gently on the other end of the line. "We should sit down and talk about this soon. We need to give Marcus a piece of our mind." Her words helped me regain some composure. Before ending the call, she emphasized, "Don't confront Marcus yet, let him think he's getting away with it for now." Had she not advised me, I might have confronted Marcus as soon as I got home. That evening, when I returned home, Marcus was nonchalantly lying on the bed, watching TV. Remembering him dressing up and leaving made my blood boil, but I kept my cool and acted as usual, unaware of the secret filming. Marcus continued his secret outings in style. In the meantime, Emma did some snooping during her breaks and sent me pictures of him entering a young woman's house several times. About a month after setting up the hidden camera, Emma and I met to strategize on confronting Marcus. I told her I had work, so we had until the evening for our planning session. While discussing the situation with Emma and checking Marcus's current actions on my smartphone, he began changing clothes right in front of us. Seeing that he was getting ready to head out again and nervously sitting on the bed, Emma remarked, "I wonder if he's invited his mistress over to our place today." I thought even Marcus wouldn't go that far, but considering his physical limitations, it might be more convenient for him. After a while, we heard the doorbell ring, and Marcus got up and walked towards it, not even using a cane. Emma's predictions seemed about to come true, and my heart raced. The next moment, a young woman entered Marcus's room. The instant Emma saw her, she exclaimed, "That's her, the one I saw with Marcus." Emma and I immediately left the cafe and rushed to my house. Seeing Marcus and his mistress together in real time was both helpful yet startling. When we checked my phone once more just outside our house, we were met with a shocking sight. Marcus and the woman were embracing each other. Watching Marcus, who was supposedly paralyzed from the waist down, in such a passionate embrace was unbelievable. Emma and I stormed into the house, heading straight for Marcus's room. When we walked into the room, my husband, Marcus, and his mistress were still locked in an embrace. Shocked, they quickly pulled apart. In his flustered state, Marcus said, "Oh, you're back early." The young mistress tried to flee the room, but Emma blocked her path. "We'd like to have a word with you. Please stay," she insisted. I confronted my standing husband. "So your legs have been fine all along? You really had me fooled," I said, voice trembling with disbelief. As I confronted him, Marcus melodramatically grabbed his leg and collapsed onto the bed. "No, you've got it all wrong. She's a masseuse," he stammered, pointing to the young woman. "She was helping me with my leg pain." I stared at him in disbelief, as Emma stepped closer and gave him a knowing smirk. "Marcus, I don't think we need to hear more of your lies. Why don't you start